So UFC 304 in Manchester takes place this weekend, and Tom Aspinall competes in the co-main event against Curtis Blaydes. Now, as we all know, currently Tom Aspinall holds that interim UFC heavyweight championship belt. In my humble opinion, I do believe that Tom Aspinall is the best heavyweight on earth, but he does have some challengers. What I don't believe is that Tom Aspinall is invincible and that he cannot lose and he won't lose to anybody. And let's be real here, this weekend there is a very, very strong chance that Curtis Blaydes does get it done against Tom Aspinall. But what I wanted to do for this video in particular is look at the entire UFC roster and pick who has the best chance of beating Tom Aspinall. So what I'm going to do in this video is rank these fighters based on their chances of beating Tom Aspinall. Soon enough, you won't be seeing Tom Aspinall's face. I'm going to uncover each fighter and give you the reason why I believe they have a chance of beating Tom Aspinall, and if I do believe they even can beat Tom Aspinall. So let's not waste any more time and let's get right into these fighters. Starting off with this fighter, I truly believe he does smoke Tom Aspinall in the first round. I do believe he is the best heavyweight on earth, and that is Shamil Gaziev. Let's be real here. Shamil Gaziev is a god amongst men. He is one of the best heavyweights I've ever seen in my entire lifetime. His mouth breathing versus Rosenstrike was just unbelievably good. And what more can I say about Shamil Gaziev? He is the absolute... I'm kidding. It's going to be Volkov. Volkov, I think at this point, his career has improved enough to give Tom Aspinall a good run for his money. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Tom Aspinall already smoked this guy in the first round, submitted him fairly easily. It was pretty much a light day in the office for Tom Aspinall, but hear me out. Volkov has improved a lot since the last Tom Aspinall fight. And you can even argue that he had a better performance against Pavlovich than what Tom Aspinall did. Surviving 3 rounds versus Pavlovich and not getting hit clean at all, I think is very, very impressive. Now, that might be a hot take. I think obviously KOing Pavlovich in the first round, I think is still very, very impressive. But I think what Volkov did, being able to dismantle him and frustrate him and really put it on Pavlovich for 3 rounds, I think is also very, very impressive. So my whole point here is that Volkov has definitely gotten better. And I think if he does fight Tom Aspinall, it might not be just a quick first round sub for Tom Aspinall again. He might have to go through a little bit of a struggle versus Volkov if he does ever rematch him. Now, do I think Volkov will come out here and beat Aspinall? I don't think so. I think I still would pick Aspinall to beat Volkov, but I think we're in for a more competitive fight if they do happen to rematch in the future. But nevertheless, Volkov has definitely improved as time has gone on. We've seen him beat other contenders at heavyweight. Keep in mind, they weren't really the best contenders outside of Pavlovich, but I think he can be a threat to Tom Aspinall in the future, especially if he keeps impressing me with his performances. But we move on to the next fighter at number 4, and that is Cyril Gane. Now, Cyril Gane, I'll say this first. Cyril Gane needs to get back into the octagon. He needs to fight an actual top contender. I think he wants to fight a Marcin Tybura in Paris at some point. I don't know what's happening with Cyril Gane. I might be forgetting a fight he has coming up, but Cyril Gane needs to get back to being active. Right now, I think he's doing a movie in France. It seems like Cyril Gane has fell into the trap of stardom, because if you don't know, Cyril Gane is a really, really big name in France, and I think he's taken time off of the sport to focus on his, I guess, celebrity career in France. And I think at this rate, with the way Cyril Gane is treating his UFC career, I don't really ever see him beating Tom Aspinall, but I really can't deny the talent of Cyril Gane. It is there. When it comes to footwork, I think Cyril Gane is the best at that at heavyweight. He is an actual heavyweight, not just a fat guy who can't make middleweight or light heavyweight. He is legitimately a big heavyweight sized man. Obviously, he has very good striking. He is very athletic. He just doesn't take his career, I think, serious enough to beat Tom Aspinall, but he still is a threat to him. He still can go out there and maybe outclass Aspinall in the striking. And the grappling is where I think that's the big X factor for Tom Aspinall. I think he does go out there and probably double leg Cyril Gane and take him down and control him and submit him. But on the feet and just solely on the feet, there is questions and there is an argument that Cyril Gane is a better striker than Tom Aspinall. Maybe Cyril Gane doesn't carry that power like Tom Aspinall does, but when it comes to striking technique and footwork, you can argue that Cyril Gane is better. But let's be real though, I think if they do end up fighting each other, I think we're going to see Tom Aspinall just grapple up Cyril Gane for 3-5 rounds, probably submit him at one point with a rear naked choke. At some point, I think Aspinall would take down Cyril Gane and finish him. That's my whole point. But on the feet though, it might be a little bit worrisome for Tom Aspinall, but who knows? Maybe Tom Aspinall is better on the feet as well. We have yet to see that, but maybe in the future we can see Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane if Cyril Gane finally becomes active once more. But that's my take for Cyril Gane, and let's move on to number 3, and that is Curtis Blaydes, who is fighting Tom Aspinall this weekend. Now, do I believe Curtis Blaydes beats Tom Aspinall? I don't think so. Spoiler alert, I am picking Tom Aspinall. But Curtis Blaydes and the little itty-bitty snippet that we had of their fight when Tom Aspinall tore his ACL, Curtis Blaydes looked pretty aggressive, and maybe he could have some success on the feet. Now, it is possible that Curtis Blaydes goes out there and maybe he does KO Aspinall. We haven't seen Aspinall's chin really tested at all in the UFC so far. Maybe the best thing we have is that one Pavlovich punch on Tom Aspinall when he was off balance. But other than that, we haven't really seen Aspinall's chin really be tested, and maybe Curtis Blaydes can be the first guy to ever test Tom Aspinall's chin. There also is that grappling threat, so we'll see how good Tom Aspinall's grappling is against an actual heavyweight grappler like Curtis Blaydes. I do suspect that Tom Aspinall's grappling is probably better than Curtis Blaydes, but we'll see. We'll see what happens this Saturday, and we'll see how good Tom Aspinall really is at his takedowns, at his double legs, at his jiu-jitsu. We'll really see how he fares against Curtis Blaydes. But when I break down this fight and look at Curtis Blaydes, I do believe he does pose a significant threat to Tom Aspinall when it comes to the striking and the grappling. And that's really about it. We've seen Curtis Blaydes look good in the striking at times, look good in the grappling at times, look bad at both at times. So Curtis Blaydes is a little bit of a mystery when it comes to how he'll approach this fight versus Tom Aspinall. Will he strike with him? Will he grapple with him? We'll see what his game plan truly is. But so far, I think Curtis Blaydes will be the most well-rounded guy that could ever fight Tom Aspinall to date. Obviously, Jon Jones is probably more well-rounded than Curtis Blaydes, but I think right now, out of all the opponents that have faced Tom Aspinall, I think Curtis Blaydes is the most well-rounded. But that's it for Curtis Blaydes. I won't spoil too much. I'm going to be doing a whole in-depth breakdown in a future full card predictions video, so look out for that in the future. But that's it for Curtis Blaydes. Moving on to number 2, and I believe that is Alex Pereira. Now, if Alex Pereira moves up to heavyweight, I do think he has a really, really strong chance of left hook KOing Tom Aspinall out cold. Now, will he ever move up? That's the big question. Will we ever see Pereira versus Tom Aspinall at heavyweight? In my opinion, I don't think we'll ever see it, but it is a possibility that it could happen. Obviously, we've seen Pereira tease moving up to heavyweight. I think it's probably a bad deal for him. If I was the manager of Alex Pereira, I would tell him, fuck no, don't move up. Sit here at heavyweight, light heavyweight, and just keep beating these scrubs at light heavyweight. If Pereira moves up to heavyweight, he might butt off a little bit more than he could chew. I think he'll be a little bit undersized at this point if he does move up. Obviously, there's a bigger grappling threat at heavyweight with Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall. We know they have good takedowns. We know they're good wrestlers. So I think moving up for Pereira would be a bad deal for him. But does he have a chance of KOing Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall? For this video, more so Tom Aspinall, there's a huge chance. I mean, he is a 2-time Glory Kickboxing World Champion in 2 weight classes. That is something that Tom Aspinall or anybody in the UFC probably hasn't faced yet at heavyweight. Alex Pereira's resume at this point throughout 3 years, I think, is Hall of Fame worthy. I mean, truly, he is a danger to anybody who fights at middleweight, light heavyweight, or even heavyweight. I think he can beat anybody in those 3 weight classes at any point. He is, again, one of the most dangerous men in the UFC. So could he go out there and find a way to KO Tom Aspinall? 100%. Now, would I pick Pereira to beat Tom Aspinall? No, I think Aspinall would just double leg him and probably choke him out, submit him at some point. But again, there always is a puncher's chance. And I think with Pereira, you give him more than a puncher's chance to KO Tom Aspinall because he just is that damn good. And if Pereira does actually move up and fight Tom Aspinall and beat him and become a 3 weight class champion in the UFC and a 2 weight class champion in kickboxing, I think that pretty much submits him as the best combat sports athlete of all time. But that is for a conversation later down the line. But I put him here at number 2. You could put him lower, but I think his left hook and his striking ability is just so good that I gave him a little bit of extra points. And I think he does have a better chance than Curtis Blaydes and Volkov and Cyril Gane because he is such a elite striker. But we move on to our final fighter, and this one pretty much is here by default, I guess, it's Jon Jones. Jon Jones is probably going to be the toughest test for Tom Aspinall. It could be Pereira. I do think Tom Aspinall does beat Jon Jones, honestly, but I can't sit here and ignore the fact that it is Jon Jones. Now, do I think Jon Jones is as good as he was in the past? No. I think heavyweight Jon Jones might actually be worse than what Jon Jones was in the past. He is older, he is fatter, and that weight isn't like muscle, it is fat, and I think it does slow down Jon Jones. I definitely don't think this current version of Jon Jones is the best Jon Jones we're going to see. I do think we're going to see Tom Aspinall go out there and probably do beat Jon Jones if they ever do fight, if Jon Jones ever is like, I want to fight this guy who is the interim champion, because it's not like Tom Aspinall doesn't deserve a fight versus Jon Jones. It's not like he's an interim heavyweight champion, like he's beaten all the other contenders, and it's really only him to fight Jon Jones and unify the undisputed belt. Let's be real here, Tom Aspinall, he's lucky to fight Jon Jones, man. Jon Jones would be doing him a favor if he fought Tom Aspinall. If you don't know, if you can't tell, I'm joking. I think Jon Jones should fight Tom Aspinall, and this whole Stipe shit needs to go away because it's annoying as fuck. But you guys get my point. It is Jon Jones. I do think he's the biggest threat to Tom Aspinall. You could even argue that he could be lower. I wouldn't mind that argument, to be honest with you. That can be a whole conversation, a whole little debate topic for us. But Jon Jones, grappling, striking, eye pokes, big thing, PEDs, big thing, has a big chance of beating Tom Aspinall. But that's my list. That's pretty much it. That's the top 5 guys who I think have the best chance of beating Tom Aspinall currently right now as of June or July. It's June or July. It's July 21st, I believe. But as of this date, as of today, as this video is being recorded and done and edited and uploaded, I do think these 5 guys have the best chance of beating Tom Aspinall. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, bell icon for notifications, please. I'm out of here, guys.